Yo, yo, you are watching the Breaking Boundaries podcast once again, and we're here to speak the truth, so...
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, that's right, baby. I usually don't do this, but before we get started, please smash the subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it, and it really helps us out with getting this content out to the world. With that said, what's going on, brother?
It's just a little finger touch.
It's just a little finger touch. You look for the bell.
I know it's a lot, man, because I asked, like, loved ones, bro, and friends, and like they're like, "Oh, how's the podcast going?" I'm like, "Dude, you don't watch it?
Yeah.
You don't even subscribe,
right?"
You know, but it's all good, man.
Which, I mean, we can't expect people to, but if you're enjoying the content, we greatly appreciate it.
Show some love. We put in a lot of effort to try to, and our only purpose here is to help others and to spread the knowledge and the message that we've learned. So we would highly appreciate it. We love you guys.
Yep. So, and with that said, I think one of the things that we can bring to the audience is we talk about a lot of stuff here, right? I want to start creating resources that we can make available, like a resource to, learn about 369 or like, templates that will help the audience, who want to kind of try some of these practices that we're talking about, right? A guide to meditation, things like that.
Like I can definitely recommend books that I've read that have changed my life.
Yep.
And maybe we can put a list of books. Right.
And then a link to buy them on Amazon or whatever, right? So we want to bring things to you guys and, make sure that, what we're talking about, we're making information about available to you.
And this journey is amazing.
Brother.
I want everybody to have it.
Yep. Same.
I was talking to one of our fans earlier, and she's like, "Man, I just tell all my loved ones, and I just want them to have what I have." And I was like, "I know, I get how that feels, but dude, people, you gotta want it yourself." You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's good to tell people about it, and
it is. That's what I love about this show.
Yep.
Because that way it'll get to the people that it'll get to the people that are willing and that want to and that are awakening.
Yeah. You're going to tell 100 people and 99 of them are going to ignore what you're saying. But just that one makes a huge difference in the world.
Big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's up, man? How was your day?
It's been a long day, bro.
I can tell when you rolled up, man. I don't think I've ever seen you that little frustrated,
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just frustration. I just got a lot going on, bro.
Yeah.
And, but I think it's good coming and recording like that because, when I'm, in the mindset I'm in, which I always try to stay in a positive mindset, but not everything's always positive, and so, I think one thing is, for the audience, I want to be more vulnerable, because being vulnerable, I'm setting myself up, for people to hate. But, I think when I'm feeling like I am right now, just with all the shit I got going on, the vulnerability relates to the audience, right?
Yeah.
And they get that heart to heart, feeling there watching what we're talking about. So.
And I've said that before. I love that, man. And it's the truth, right? And the truth is going to help others, whether it be negative or not. I love it when people get vulnerable and when people are crying and they're telling their story and their pain. That's what I'm saying. I want people to cry, but I love it because I know it's true.
Yeah.
With all the people's bullshit in this world, when people are vulnerable, I know it's true. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter what they say or what their pain is or what their story is. When I know it's the truth, I'm engaged.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm engaged. I want things that I can trust. So I'm really glad, man.
Yeah. And that allows us, to, when I am, I was in a frustrated mindset earlier, just like, I just had a lot go on today, bro. And so, it allows us to, use myself as an example or use an example of like practical application with the things we're talking about, right? Because we talk in a big, like overall, view sometimes. So like we're talking about this big thing, right? And like we're not really we do talk about how to apply it to daily life, but you know what I mean? Like
get what you're saying, yes.
for people to actually see like, okay, I'm feeling this way, and with relation to the things we've been talking about, this is what I'm going to do to, you know, get my mind where it needs to be and keep my mind where it needs to be.
Man, I love how you explain shit, bro.
Thanks, bro.
I don't have the words for things, but you like explain stuff like so clearly, man. And I like understand some of my own concepts through the way you explain them.
I like that because I don't always feel like I do. Sometimes I feel like I'm all mixed up and I'm just, you know, mixing things up. But
yeah, but it makes sense to me, brother.
I love it.
It makes sense
Good
to
shit.
me.
Good shit. So what about you? How's it going today?
Well, dude, I mean, I don't mean to rub it in, but I had an amazing day. You know?
Good, bro. Good.
And I mean, you know, I told you some of the shit that I got going on, and like, so the last couple of days weren't so amazing, but you know, the reason I had an amazing day was because I got up. Of course, I woke up, man, and it was like there was a bunch of negative thoughts coming in, and the reason being is because that's how I went to sleep. Okay, and that's how I went to sleep. And Abraham Hicks talks about this. And when you go to sleep, and they're still going to be there when you wake up. So when you first go to sleep and when you first wake up are the most important. But when I wake up like that, I say, no, I'm going to do the steps to get me in a higher vibration. You know, and I meditated and I, you know, went through a few different things, man. I had a fucking amazing day, dude. I just had a good day, man. I was just super happy, man. Got some work stuff done first in the morning. And that's the thing too, is getting my work stuff done first in the morning, you know, because then I'm just beating myself up later on in the day, or I don't want to do it later in the day. So I got my work stuff done, went to the gym with my son, ran into a bunch of great people, had a bunch of great conversations, man. And just, had a great day, dude.
Right on. Love hearing that. Cause, I know what you mean about going to bed in a negative mindset, or like even just not even being in a negative mindset, but just not being in, you know, an open-minded, positive mindset, right? Like, and that's one of the problems I have is like, I'm stuck in this 3D shit of the world, and I'm stuck in, you know, I have my screens on until, you know, midnight, 1 a.m, and then I'm waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever, you know, and so I want to start. You know, one of my friends gave me a recommendation because I told her I've been having trouble sleeping. And she said, turn my fucking screens off an hour before bed and read a damn book. Because with a book, you can paint the imagery in your head that you're reading. And you get to choose what's in your head when you go to sleep that way. Where with screens, you're watching what's on the screen, right? And so with all the video editing and you know, I'm constantly like trying to learn new things, so I use videos for that purpose. But just having the screens on at all the blue light, all that shit, it's fucking me up.
Super unhealthy, yeah. And that's, dude, I didn't, at the beginning of my awakening, I didn't watch TV for a year and a half. I didn't watch TV. And then I started again, like using it to fall asleep. And that has everything to do with me waking up like that. It has everything to do with it, right? And I keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Screens are serious addictions, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And they want it to be that way. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole, but they want it to be that way, you know?
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude. I couldn't wait till we get on the show so I could tell you about this, man. So I'm watching Abraham Hicks today. And with Abraham Hicks, no matter what the conversation is, she always leads back to the same answer, right? Vibration, feeling good about you. So whenever anybody has a problem and they say, oh, this is going, that's going on, she goes direct. That's what I love about her. She goes directly back to vibration and joy. And like, that's why it's so strict. You know what I mean? She's like, this is the answer and that's all it is. But I turned on a video today and somebody's talking about their loved ones who passed away, right? Because, you know, Esther Hicks is channeling Abraham Hicks, like a non-being. And it's crazy because her answer wasn't just vibration. It's the first time I ever heard her say, and I've seen all her stuff. And she said, yes, they're there. Like your loved ones, your dead ones are there. And then she also explained, but still, what she explained was that you start speaking words or sayings that they said. Right. And I tripped out on that, dude, because my little brother who died, you know, I don't know, it was like 7-8 years ago or something like that. Super tragic moment in my life, dude. Super, it was a big deal. I raised him. We were like best friends, you know, but he was like this super loving guy, and he would always sing this song, "I'm Sexy and I Know It." Like, cause he was always drunk, bro. And he's always singing that song. And then, so when I heard that from her, and then I remember out of the blue, I started singing that song. I was hanging out with my kids and I was living in joy, you know, and I was at the park and I started singing that song out of the blue, you know, and then I was telling my son about it, how, you know, so I believe that's like my loved ones, like that what she's saying is they're still here.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I never, ever believed in spirits or ghosts or anything like that. But my brother, when he died, my brother died, and 3 days later, my son was born.
Okay.
So the same day I buried my brother, in the morning, I brought my son home from the hospital.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Trippy.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. It was a major moment in my life, man. It was probably the hardest thing I ever went through, dude. And so my son, he has never met. And by the way, my son has a personality just like my brother.
Really?
It's almost, yeah, dude, it's almost like my brother reincarnated into my son.
Right.
And my son is very loving, just like he was. So anyways, so this, you know, and I don't believe in ghosts, spirits, none of that stuff, right? I'm a very simple-minded thinker. And he was about 1.5 years old, and he's in the bath, and he starts saying my brother's name. Mario, 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 I want to see Mario, I want to see Mario. And I'm like, what the heck? I go, where did you hear that? Like, he can barely talk. So I'm calling my ex-wife and I'm calling mother-in-law. I'm like, have you guys talked to him about, they go, no, he doesn't know about Mario. So he's starting to say his name, and they say how kids, you know, because they're still in the spiritual realm as they're born, right? They still know the secrets to the universe, you know, because they don't have the limitations. They don't have the limitations yet, you know? And he starts saying that. I'm like, what the heck? And he's like, I want to see Mario. I want to see Mario. And I'm like, now I'm like telling the story. I'm like tripped out at the time. You know what I mean? Like, wow, that's crazy, dude. And we go and not only that, but when he's saying that, then I realize it's my brother's birthday that day.
Oh.
And I hadn't been to his grave in like a year. And then we go to his go to his gravesite and see him, man. But it was wild. But that was like my first belief in like supernatural beings. Because what other answer can you have to that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. A kid that young,
it's crazy,
that's crazy,
bro.
That's crazy. That's amazing, man. And that's one of the things that, like, we're so, you know, we love to think that as human beings we're grounded. We're so not grounded. We're so lost.
We have no idea.
Yeah, we're so lost in this world that society's built.
Yeah.
You know, and we're so lost in you know, this non-belief in things that we can't see. You know, that you know, it's hard for people to believe that, but you know, it's so I believe that there's so much more to this world than what we know. So much more to this world than what we can see. And I was the same way. You know, and I still have a hard time believing in like that, you know, that someone who passed away can actually like come talk to me. I believe that like their energy's there, but you know, I still have things that I struggle to believe, you know, and but there's so much more to the world that we can't see. There's other realms in this world, you know what I mean? And religion talks about it, and philosophy talks about it, and it's there, you know, but we've just blinded ourselves with believing all that exists is what's in front of our eyes.
Right. And where did they come up with that idea from? That there's other realms. It didn't just come from nowhere.
Right.
There's so many people talking about it. Like there's so many, this whole spiritual awakening time. And I mean, look at all the famous people that are awakening, and they're talking about Jim Carrey. I don't know if you've ever heard Jim Carrey's stuff, but it's crazy. And he's like, this isn't even real. You know, he's like, and he's on this, and Mel Gibson just awakened, and he's speaking about it. His house just burnt down, and he is in the process of making a movie about these different dimensions. And then his house burnt down, and in the fires in Hollywood that we just had recently. And he's even saying online, he thinks it's God's breaking him down before he builds him up, before this movie comes out that he's making, you know? So like, this stuff is crazy, bro. Like this stuff is happening. Like the earth is shifting right now into another dimension. This is the most exciting time to be alive. So COVID, COVID, Biden, all the sex changes and all this crazy shit, right? Because before something changes, chaos has to happen.
Right.
Chaos always happens. Whenever there's chaos, it's coming into a big shift. And there's never, ever been chaos in this world like there's been these last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's because we're getting ready to shift. Right. And so also with Trump becoming president, I mean, look at Trump becoming president, dude. And all of them talking about the Bible now and about religion and about Jesus. You've never seen that.
So, not everyone's going to understand this, but can you break down what you mean by we're shifting into another dimension, like in layman's terms?
So the earth is shifting. Look at the weather. It just snowed in Florida. 9 inches of snow in Florida, bro. In Florida.
Some would say that's global warming, though.
Right. Well, I mean, but it aligns with the same thing in the shift of the earth. So you got people awakening, you got nature changing in miraculous ways, right? So what they say in Dolores Cannon, I don't know if you've heard of her, but Dolores Cannon, right, is what she's talking about. It's literally shifting. So there's people that'll be left with the old earth and people that'll be on the new earth. So like when I say about if you don't pay attention to it, it's not part of your reality. So those are the kind of things. So like we'll be sitting here. You could be in the old earth and I can be in the new earth, right? And we could be still sitting here physically talking to each other, but we're not living in the same world. We're not living in the same dimension. We might be here physically, but inside consciously, we are not.
Okay.
This is Christ conscious coming back. They talk about Jesus coming back. He's not coming back. It's Christ consciousness. It's within us, right? It's the way we feel. It's the way things happen in our lives. I mean, this shit is real. I can feel it happening. Like with me getting sick on the first of the year, as sick as I got, I totally felt that my body was like upgrading.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm literally upgrading to the new earth. And this isn't like something that I came up with. Everybody's talking about it. It's a thing. And I'm not a big, they said in the year 2000, all the computers were going to crash. They said that aliens are coming. I don't know about all that. But I know internally that I can feel with my spirit that this is happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we are shifting to the new earth. So there's going to be the ones left behind where negative stuff keeps happening to them. They're still in poverty and all these things. Because even as they talk about, there's going to be no more middle class.
Okay, right.
Okay, there's another sign of it. There's going to be no more middle class. There's going to be the rich and there's going to be the poor.
Yeah. Right?
So I assume that's ones that live in the old earth and ones that live in the new earth.
Right. Okay. So when you say the earth is shifting, the shift of the earth isn't a physical thing.
It's not a physical thing. It's a consciousness.
But it affects physicality on Earth.
Right.
So like, and like, have you heard of like these smart cities they're talking about building and shit like that? Like they're taught, and that's what they're saying, possibly a lot of these fires. Look at all these fires happening. They're saying, I don't know if it's I believe in a lot of conspiracies, or at least the possibility of a lot of conspiracies being true. So like they're talking about, the fires being part of a land grab, right? And so they're letting all of these, homes and land burn so that they can, people lose their homes. Insurance doesn't cover it. They bring developers in to start developing the land, right? So it's like a land grab by the government. And like, Gavin Newsom was like in an interview and he was like talking about how they're coming up with plans to figure out what to do with the land. And they're bringing developers in, and he even did this little dance and while he was talking to this newscaster that was interviewing him. And so like, based on what you're saying, like I kind of feel like, like you say, it's not a physical thing, but it's affecting the physical world. Mm-hmm. And like that's another weird thing that's happening. But they're talking about building these smart cities where like, yeah, it basically gets rid of the middle class, right? And it gives, I think it has a lot to do with like the New World Order.
Right. Yeah, right? But you can align that with the shift also being the new earth and the old earth. And then the same thing happened in Hawaii.
Yeah, same thing.
Hawaii, and then what's her name that lives in Hawaii, owns a bunch of property, that one black...
Oprah?
Oprah, yeah. And they were talking about her having something to do with it because they're trying to buy up the land over there.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because I remember when that happened in Hawaii, her and The Rock, like, they made some video. I forget exactly what they said, but people were mad because they were like these like basically billionaires, and they're offering like this. They were asking people for donations to help Hawaii. Right. And everyone's like, what the fuck? You guys are billionaires.
Yeah.
And you're sitting here making videos asking people for donations.
Yeah. And you live there?
Yeah.
No, and then, yeah, she was like trying to buy up the land or whatever.
Right. So, like, yeah, I mean, I do have a grasp on what you're saying there, and it makes a lot of sense. So, I think the simple way is there's a non-physical shift that affects the physical world. That's how it makes sense to me.
Yeah. And then, like, things like, I see there's all these people and these like tragic things are happening in their life and they're telling about it, like people that I know. And it's like, I feel so separate from it. Mm-hmm. Like I don't feel a part of it as I used to, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, okay, that sucks, but I don't feel a part of it like I used to. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't feel like I'm on the same timeline as they are.
Right.
You know?
That makes sense. I feel that in a way too. I feel so, I feel like not like I'm in another dimension, but I just feel like I'm on a different path from the rest of the world and the rest of society.
I'm telling you, it's you changing into the new earth. Me and my son went down to Venice Beach, and we went longboarding around Venice Beach, and we're longboarding. There's tons of people everywhere, and we're longboarding everywhere. And I go to my son and I tell him, I go, son, I don't even feel like anything a part of any of these people or anything like them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I feel I don't have it was like a bunch of ants everywhere. And my son's like, I know, Dad, I feel the same way too, everywhere I go. You know, and that's why I know, remember my son was here and he was asking what we were going to talk about. Yeah. And I know I watched the symptoms from my son, that my son's transforming into the new earth. You know what I mean? Because he has a lot of the symptoms too. Like, dude, he's even told me, like, we've had these different, it was a year and a half ago, man. There was all these crazy, like, just miraculous experiences, these feelings that we're having. And my son's like, Dad, sometimes I walk outside, I don't even feel real. I don't even feel real. And so I'm listening to it, bro. And I'm like, dude, I know what you're going through because you're feeling that, you know what I mean? So he has the same symptoms. It's crazy that me and my son will have like the same like sleep deprived and all these things. And, you know, he's more of a, not religious, but a believer in the Bible kid, you know, but he's having the same symptoms as me. Right. You know, and have you ever like, you've been doing something and then you see yourself like from outside of yourself?
Like an outer body experience?
Like an outer body experience. Like I'm just going by my day-to-day thing. And like all these things have something to do with it. Deja vu. You know, my other son, we're in we're in Montana, thousands of miles away. And all day he's like, oh, Dad, this person looks familiar. This person looks familiar. This person looks familiar. And we're in Montana. He's like, oh, that looks like my old teacher. He was doing this all day. Right. So these are like crazy symptoms of changing into the new earth. I'm telling you, like I can feel it in my heart. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I can totally relate to a lot of that. Yeah, I feel the same way. Just observing people sometimes, it's
crazy, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was in the gym today and I was just like looking at everybody. And I'm not like knocking whatever it is, but it's just like sometimes life doesn't even seem real, dude. It's not even real, bro. I don't even feel like of this earth sometimes. You know, it's wild. So like feeling like that and being in your spiritual awakening and then dealing with people, it's uncomfortable. Like this process it's not like all fucking sunshine and rainbows, bro. It's difficult, man. And when you're going through a spiritual awakening, like you don't want to work. You know what I mean? You don't want to work, bro. Totally. Don't get too deep into meditation, bro, because you won't want to fucking work.
Yeah. And the thing is I don't think it's like you don't want to work, like you don't want to do productive things. It's like you don't want to work for this, like this 3D reality.
Yeah, you don't want to. It's a separation, dude, from from being a fucking slave.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
a spiritual awakening is a separation from being a slave and coming into a non-slave life and figuring that out.
Right.
Like it's a big transition, dude.
Yeah.
All this stuff that we're talking about and the things you talk about going through, like, Alan, bro, it's a big deal. From living a whole life in this slave, closed-minded mentality to opening up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's like and I see why spiritual people use like a butterfly as an analogy, because it's, you know, a butterfly is a caterpillar and then it switches to a being that flies. Right. So I'd like to look into how that process, I think they go in a cocoon or something, but I wonder what kind of painful process they go through, because that's what this is, dude.
Yeah.
That's what this is. It's crazy. It's a lifetime of trash and getting rid of all that.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's true. Perfect way to put it. I'm tired of having to live like a slave. And it's not a slave, you know, to people. It's a slave to society as a whole. It's a slave to, you know, this artificial sense of reality that we created. I feel like the way the world operates today, you know, I can just like stand back and look at everything going on, right? And I feel like I'm standing above everyone, like I'm the creator of the simulation or something, you know, and I'm watching everyone just move around like an NPC, you know, and it's like, you know, and I hate being a part of that. And it's crazy. And you know, a lot of people can live in that world because they don't feel themselves.
Right.
They don't know themselves.
Yeah, they don't at all. It's like, it's just, but it's just crazy because I was like that. And then now, and so people can call it fucking judgmental or whatever it is, you know what I mean? But it's not, it's the same thing. Like, dude, if you're overweight and then you get really healthy and you get thin and you get in shape, and then you're like thinking negative things about something that is overweight, like you're going to, you know what I mean? Because it's not what you're doing. It doesn't align with your purpose. But when I see other people and they're living this life and just the way they're walking around, they're talking, they're gossiping, and everybody's dressed the same and the tattoos and all that stuff. Bro, I look at it, I'm just like, and I was like that, but I'm looking at it from an outer, and it's like wild, bro.
Yeah.
It's like wild. You're like, you just don't, but they have no idea. They have no knowledge of it.
Right. And I don't think that's judgmental. I think what it is we have this desire for people to see the same thing. And so I'm not judging people. I'm just like standing back and saying, you know, man, what if people, you know, could see this? What if people could feel these, you know, inner feelings, get in touch with their non-physical, you know? People aren't in touch with their non-physical. People, you know, the majority of society doesn't even believe that you have a non-physical. You know, we say that we have a soul, you know, but that's just like a metaphor for most people. Most people think that this physical body is them. It's not, you know, it's not. And so I don't think it's judgmental at all. I think it's just our desire to want people to see it, and then getting this bit of frustration because people can't see it and there's no way that you're going to get through to them, you know, but you got to love these people because they're people. So, you know, I don't wish anything harmful upon people, but I just get frustrated because they can't see it.
Yeah. But at the same time, I understand why they are the way they are. You know what I mean? Like I understand it, and it comes from the trauma and the different things, you know what I mean? But yeah, and I was just talking to somebody today about that, about just, man, I just want everybody to feel how I feel, want everybody to know what I know, you know? And, you know, they're not, like I said, I believe that if you're going to awaken, you're going to awaken. And if you're not, you're not. That has to do with this new earth. You know what I mean? There's those that, the school district, my son was probably late to class. I don't give a shit about that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was telling my nieces and nephews yesterday, I was like, you know how to read? You know how to write? You know how to spell? Okay, good. I don't give a shit about any of that other stuff. You know what I mean? It means nothing.
Definitely. Yeah, man. I was watching or listening to a podcast today, and I've talked about this guy before, Andrew Huberman.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning him.
And I was getting real excited listening to him talk, because he's you know, he's out in the public. He's a, you know, you can consider him like a B-class public figure, you know, and he's got a lot of followers and stuff. But he had a guest on his show, and I forget her name, but I want to learn more about her because I really liked what she was talking about. But they were talking about the power of meditation, and they were talking about, you know, being in touch with your non-physical self and stuff. And it's like, I love coming across like episodes of podcasts or like people talking about that, you know, because these are people who are in the public and people know of them and they're looked at as respectable people,
Right.
and they're actually bringing this conscious thought in front of people, and I think that's really cool. And she was talking about, you know, and I don't think people do this enough, and I think it's another part of that, like, they're living in the 3D world and they're not in touch with themselves. But she was talking about how to handle, like you were talking about, waking up in a negative mood, right? Mm-hmm. Waking up with negativity. And she called it KISSed. It was like kind internal self-talk. And basically what she said is take yourself away from the 3D world and look at yourself as another person. You know, and you're feeling negative, step back and feel those feelings and really say, okay, why am I feeling like that? Instead of waking up and saying, I need to bring my anxiety down. That's negative, right? When you bring something down, that's a negative connotation.
And it's just going to make it happen more.
Yeah. So instead say, okay, what's causing these feelings? What can I do for myself? How can I care for myself? How can I love myself? How, you know, What do I need to get myself to get myself out of this negative feeling, this negative thought, right? And I love that she was talking about that because, you know, we as humans don't think like that. Everything's so fast. We got to jump up and get into the real world, right? When instead, like, if we all thought like that, you know, the world would be a different place because once you start, you know, taking care of yourself in that way, you know, you're treating other people differently.
Yeah.
And,
absolutely.
And you're moving through the world differently, right? But absolutely. It just kind of goes back to like, we're in this fast paced, you know, always on the move, lack of consciousness mode. Yeah. Right. And yeah, man. So just wanted to share that. Andrew Huberman, check him out, everyone. I really like that guy. I'll send you some of his stuff to check out. Yeah. Cool stuff, man. But yeah. So this is where I've been lately, man, is, you know, trying to stay out of the world and stay more in myself, you know?
And it's like, so, you know, I'm saying that too. And like the stuff, you know, that's been going on with my business, but you attract what you think of, right? So even in our 3D, like, we're attracting that stuff. You get what I'm saying? So even if my business, if there's stuff that I don't like about it that I'm cutting out, well, did I attract that stuff in the first place? Probably, because at the end of the day, the law is the law.
Right.
You know, so like that's something that just registered with me as I'm saying it right now. Okay, those problems in my business, I attracted them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I got to tell you a story about attracting what you think about. Okay. And I'm going to get real vulnerable here.
Get into it, bro. Let's go.
I'm going to get real vulnerable here. All right. So let's see, back in October of 2021, me and my son's mom split up. Right. And we finally stopped living with each other December of 2021. And so it's been, you know, 2.5 years, something like that, close to it. Or is that 3 years? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
My mind's blank on math right now, simple math right now for some reason. But anyways, so we never like officially filed for divorce. So like technically I'm still married. Uh-huh. And we get along really well and stuff. But that was the hardest part of my life, was going through that, right? And you know, there was things about me back then that I look back and I don't like. And after I explain this, I have some questions for you that, you know, your opinion on some things. But, you know, there was some parts of myself I really didn't like. And, you know, I don't want to live with regret, but part of me still lives with regret from that. And so she had time to like plan out that she wanted to split up. I didn't have time to plan it out, right? And so it's time, dude. We got to file this divorce paperwork. We both agree we got to do it. We got to move on, right? And she's been wanting to for a while. And I've said a few times I'll go do it, and just living in the fast-paced world, I haven't gone and done it. But I need to go do it. But I haven't thought about this for a long time, right? And she hasn't mentioned anything for a long time. We haven't even brought it up for like months.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I'm driving, and for some reason, I start thinking about that. And I'm like, man, I gotta go file that paperwork, right? I haven't talked about it for months. I start thinking about that. An hour later, she texts me and says, hey, what's up with the paperwork? When are we gonna finally do that? Can you believe that shit? That right there hit me. I'm like, I do attract what I think about. I do attract what my energy is trying to pull in or push out, you know. And it was just such an awakening moment for me for that to happen, you know.
But also you got to witness manifestation.
That was wow.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I think part of the reason that I've kind of put this off, and I said I'm making myself vulnerable, part of the reason I've put this off is because it's been really like difficult, and like I don't think I want to hold on to the relationship. I don't think we're meant to be together that way. And we get along great, and like I'm really appreciative and grateful of the opportunity to like still get along with her. But you know, and I think part of the reason that I've put this off is because there's something inside of me that it makes it really hard, because I loved her and I know she loved me. But like I said, I look back to those times and there's parts of me that I really don't like. I mean, there's parts of me that were really, really weak back then. And I made decisions back then during our relationship that I look back and like, I don't want to use the word I hate myself for it, but like there's almost a feeling of regret there. Now, my question for you is, you know, I'm going on this journey and I want to stay on this journey, and I want to stay in the mindset of, you know, doing the inner work. But when you have negative thoughts that give you a feeling of regret or make you think back to the past, and you just feel horrible about things or something that's happened in the past, and you get into that negative mindset pushes you away from really, you know, doing that inner work. That negative mindset, when I was thinking about it, that negative mindset pushed me away from like being able to think positively. How, you know, and so how do we stay on track? You know what I mean? How do we stay on track when those real feelings of negativity come in that block you? You feel like it's blocking you. You don't know how to get back to that positive mindset. How do we stay on track? What are some things we can do, man? What, man, you know?
This is, I got goosebumps right now, bro. That's a big question.
Because I don't believe in therapy. I won't go talk to a therapist. What do I do for myself? What do people do for themselves?
Look, this stuff is coming up because that's how it clears out. Okay, that's how it clears out. All these negative things are also, those thoughts that you're having is coming from your old self of how you used to be. So when you're going through this spiritual awakening, in order to transition, those things have to come up and you have to clear them. Okay, we'll start there. So they came up, dude. I was just a few months ago, man. I was in it for about a month or two focused on this thing. And it had to do with my ex-wife also. The only answer I'm telling you is, dude, in what I do is meditation, gym, yoga. And I just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until it clears out. Because the more I try not to, and the more I beat myself up for having those negative thoughts and for being it, the universe gives you whatever you're giving out. So the more you tell yourself, oh, I want to get in a positive vibration, I want to get in positive, the more negative you're bringing to yourself.
Yeah, you said it before. The more you want, the more you're gonna keep wanting.
The more you're gonna keep wanting, man. And I know, because I do it myself. I told you I'm 3 years deep into this, over 3 years, and I do it myself. I get caught because it's so much easier actually to get caught on a negative thought and to go down that rabbit hole than it is a positive, because that's what we're used to doing. So I don't necessarily have an answer for you, but doing physical activity, doing your meditation, and then it gets you out of that, you know,
Right.
but that's how, so that's healing trauma. Okay. When you're going through the process of healing trauma, the trauma comes up, right? And then you get rid of it. And that's how you're healing it. You're overcoming it. You're overpowering it. You know, so whatever you have to do. So if meditation's not working, I can't think of meditation, I go for a run. Dude, I'll go half the day sometimes to get there, you know, but that's the only answer I have for you, you know, but I love the fact that's come out, because that's you healing trauma right now.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And here's another thing. I know you love her. I'm sure the relationship's good. It has to close, dude. Every relationship and every soul contract has to close for you to awaken. It does. So I know it's hard, but that's so, and not only, I'm not saying just necessarily you manifested that, but it's also your inner being maybe manifesting that. You know, it could have been she was thinking about it. That's what made you think about it, because you're so connected, you know, but it has to happen, dude. And this has just happened to me with my ex-wife, and she got this boyfriend or whatever. And we always had we still had a relationship. Look, when you're friends with women, dude, I don't recommend, guys cannot be friends with women.
I know.
Because the woman is using you for emotional support in one way or another, right? They're using you for emotional support. And so that's not healthy. That's still a connection.
Yeah.
So like when my ex-wife, I'm not going to go into the whole story of what it was. I mean, I'm not jealous. I have no relation to my ex-wife, but I don't know if I told you about it, but it was a big old drama about who it was and my kids and stuff like that. But that had to happen because we're shifting into the new earth. So certain people can't come with you. So now me and her, we have no connection at all. There's no more emotional support between each other. I mean, we're still co-parenting with the kids, right? But there's no more emotional connection.
Is she conscious like you?
No. So that had to happen. And it happened recently with another friend of mine. And it's funny because I just did this video about all soul contracts. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I saw
all
it.
soul contracts, all soul ties. I here and now release them. And after I did that video, bro, the last people left that I was emotionally attached to left my life after I did that video. And it happened. And so it's been painful as it's happened, right? Because there's still a detachment. Why is it happening? There's all these different feelings going on. But that's shifting into the new earth. Like, people can't come with you. And I'm so grateful, dude. My kids, they get to come with me.
Yeah.
Like I told you, with my son and him going through the same trends, and my other son, and I see them going through the transition into this new earth. And I'm like, thank God they're coming with me. But you can see it because you don't collide anymore. And I've watched my son with relationships that he has, and they can't coexist anymore. You know, and so I'm witnessing it with him also, you know, so it has to be this way. And like I said, here's a lifetime of thing, especially when you have a kid with them, you know what I mean? And so, but it's not healthy having an emotional support from an ex.
You know, talking about this, what's crazy, all this stuff we're talking about, she believes this same shit. Everything we're talking about, she believes. And when you say, you know, some people can't come with you, I feel like we're following each other.
If anybody
you
could,
know?
that she could, you know, I'm not saying that, and I'm not knocking your ex.
I know.
You said nothing but good stuff about her, and I really admire your guys' relationship. I'm just speaking from my own experience. I don't have, my ex-wife's not the same as yours. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's experience is different. So I'm not saying, I get what you're saying, you know, but there's something there that can't be there anymore, bro. You know, there's something there. There's a reason for it, you know? And if you just look at everything, dude, and I'm not saying I'm perfect at doing it, but if you just look at everything, like everything that is happening to me is for my greatest good. Everything that is happening to me is for my greatest good. Every negative thing and every positive thing. I'm exactly at the exact moment and in the exact place that I'm supposed to be. And if you can live like that all the time, I know it's not easy because
it's hard.
It breaks away from, but I wanted that.
Yeah.
But I wanted that. So when you have that full belief that everything is directing me to where I want to go and where I'm supposed to go. And even if you make that a mantra or write it down every day, you know, so when you're in that negative thing, like start writing, dude, pen to paper, bro, is such a big deal. Start writing things down, dude. Start writing things down, saying affirmations, going to the gym, meditating, doing all those things. I feel your pain. I know exactly where you are. And it's part of the process, man. And it's part of the and dude, I'm like, when's it going to be over? Other people are going through spiritual awakenings. They're talking about 7-8 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a process.
Yeah.
There's been so many times where I thought I was fixed and cured and it was all good. Like I get in these high vibrations, dude, in these moments. And like, but the negative moments seem to be way more. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Okay, I'm watching TV at night, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm talking shit. I'm having bad conversations, you know, like that stuff. We have to stop reading the books, watching the podcasts, and doing all those things. And we have to start just being and connecting with our inner being. And that comes through meditation. We have to do it. There's all these other tools and they're great, but I'm telling you, through meditation, this is where we can connect.
Meditation is like huge for me right now. The gym side of things, I mean, I got to go to the gym every day and work out and everything. But like when I first started my journey, when I first decided I want to love myself, the gym was the first thing that I started doing because of Andrew Tate.
Right, yeah.
It was the first thing I
Shout
started
out to Andrew
doing.
Tate. We love Andrew Tate on this show.
Yeah,
by the
we
way.
do. Yep.
I'm always going to say that.
So the gym was the first thing I started doing to get my mind right. But now, when I'm in a negative vibration or I have something going on mentally that I got to deal with, I'm starting to feel like the gym is just my Band-Aid at this point. Like it's like a medication.
Thank you.
Like I'm going to the gym just because I know it will take my mind off it for a while. It's not going to fix it.
I love that you said that because, you know, we talk big about physical fitness on here and it is true, but it is still an outside thing.
Yeah.
It is still an outside fix.
Yep. It's something we're bringing from the outside rather than finding the inside out.
I love that, man, because I'm big on the gym and I use it as a tool to get my inside better. You know, I use it as a tool, but meditation, bro, is where it's at, quiet in the mind. And I'm not saying I'm fucking perfect at it, dude. And I'm working on it right now. Matter of fact, my meditation has not been like it's been for over 1.5 years right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm not saying when I'm meditating that all my manifestations come in. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that, oh man, I get to connect with spirit and know what it feels like. And I get to bring love into myself, into my body, into my soul. And when I do that, I get to give it to everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, and man, I'm sorry you're going through that, dude. And I feel you and I understand it, you know, and it's just something that we have to go through, dude. And we have to heal the trauma. And every time you're succeeding, man, and you get through this thing, you just healed some more trauma. You just healed some more trauma. Yeah.
So that podcast I was listening to that I was telling you about today with Andrew Huberman, the guest that he had on was talking about how, you know, step one in any personal journey is suffering. Right? She said, you know, you got to suffer And then I'm paraphrasing here, and I'm not saying exactly how she said it, but you got to suffer. And then you have to be able to recognize that suffering. And then you have to be able to find the compassion that brought you, or find the compassion to that suffering, is how she put it, I believe. And that made a lot of sense to me. And then step 4 was never stop doing that. But you know, and so you're right. You gotta suffer in life, because that's how you're gonna grow.
But do we, bro? Do we? Because Abraham Hicks says we don't.
Well, I think when you get to a certain point in your journey, you don't. I think to get to that point in the journey, you do, though. After you get to a certain point, you don't. But how are we gonna change? I mean, and I'm not saying, you know, suffering is just, we got to get rid of, I had to get rid of some things that I loved in order to get to this point, right? I had to push people away. That was suffering. That was hard. You know, I had to give up certain habits. I was so attached to those habits. That was hard. That was suffering. I had to feel some pain there, right? And now that I've gotten to that point, now I'm not suffering over those things anymore, right? And I'm feeling less suffering. But even like what we were just talking about, that's some suffering that I have to go to. But to get to the point where I can just feel bliss, where I can feel joy, I think I have to go through that suffering.
Yeah, and we can't, and how could you know bliss and joy if you didn't know suffering?
Yeah, right?
It's you know, you have to really know. See, there's those people, man, that their whole lives and they were raised in church, you know, and their whole lives have been perfect and miraculous. I don't think they know God or spirit like somebody who's been through pain.
Mm-hmm.
They even talk about in the Bible constantly of Jesus using people that have sinners and people in negative situations, and those are the most biggest believers. You know, so we have to. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate, bro, but we have to, man. We have to feel some pain. But that's where I get confused in, you know, being an Abraham Hicks follower and then the spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like hard. So I talk about it like, okay, the manifesting, all that stuff and studying Abraham Hicks, but then I have the spiritual awakening going on where all this trauma is coming up and where these things in the moon and all these other things are affecting me, which makes it difficult.
And so, you know, that's what I was talking about, like practical application earlier. When we listen to Abraham Hicks, she brings us great knowledge. She brings us great information, but there's no one size fits all with anything in life, right? And so I believe with everything she brings us, or technically everything they bring us,
yeah,
we need to utilize that information. I believe it. I believe, you know, everything that I learned from the law of attraction, I believe. And I just explained an experience where I'm starting to see it vividly.
Yeah.
Right. But it's an overall view of a concept, right? And then we have this complicated life, this complex life that we have to practically apply to it. You know what I mean? And so there's going to be things outside of her teachings that happen to us in life, right? And those are the things that we got to figure out for ourselves while still taking what we learn and applying it. Right?
I love how you explain stuff, man, because you just explain it so well. I don't know. And I get what you're saying. It's like, because we're all so unique. So I'm not Abraham Hicks.
Right.
So the way that she lives, you know what I mean? So I love that, dude. I love that. And that's why I'm so big on not following any kind of certain thing. You know what I mean? Because we are all so unique, you know, in our own journeys.
You're right. We're not Abraham Hicks, nor are we the medium that channels her.
Right.
Right. And so it's okay to take teachings, you know, and then also take information from other places. That's why, like, you know, that's why a lot of like religions institutionalize people, because they say all you can believe is this.
Right.
All that you can follow is this. There's
Right.
nothing outside of this. And I don't care if you're a Christian, you're Buddhist, you're Muslim, I don't care what you are. Your religious book, yes, you should be following. But I don't think any religious teaching, any religious scripture, you know, any religious writings are saying this is all. You know, there's other things.
And nobody should say that.
Right. There's other things that happen that are not explained in this writing, and you have to figure those things out while still following your beliefs.
Right. It's your own experience. And I think all these people in these different books and these different religions is all their experience.
Yeah.
And I love how you explained it. And these are tools for us to use to find our experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Love it.
Good topic, bro.
I needed this talk today because
dude, it's like we didn't even like stay on what we were going to talk about, and we just had a conversation, and I think it was an amazing conversation.
But think about how what we started talking about led us here.
Yeah.
Right? It led us here because the original topic or the first topic, I should say, that we were talking about was the shift, right? Yeah. So we're talking about what's going on in society. Yeah. And then we started talking about how we can see that from an outside perspective, and we don't want to be part of that.
Yeah.
And then that led us into talking about how we're not part of that. You know, we're not part of that because of all these things we just talked about, all this consciousness that we feel, you know, all of this enlightenment that, you know, we get from keeping an open mind and learning new things.
Yeah.
You know, so it goes along with what we were originally talking about. We're not a part of that world that's the other side of the world during this shift that you speak of. We're not a part of that world because of what we have here and what we just talked about, right? And damn, don't it feel good?
Oh yeah, it feels good.
Don't it feel good?
I'm so glad to be on this side.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to be on this side.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I feel like I'm on that side, and I'm like, oh my God. That's where it's happened in the last few months, where I've been like, oh my God, did I fucking switch back?
Yeah.
You know, but that was just part of my awakening and part of my trauma. Like I said, I was going through just what you're going through. And I was like, what happened? I used to be, you know what I mean? So different or whatnot. And that's part of the process where they talk about the spiritual awakening, where you think that you've lost everything and you haven't learned anything. And you're like, it's just more trauma coming up, dude. And you're clearing up more stuff, man. And
yeah.
Oh, I just want it to be over at the same time, bro. Right. I just want it to be over at the same time. Sometimes, dude, I'm just like, okay, when am I going to get there, man?
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I see those people that I've seen online that have been like going through it 7-8 years, and they're super in tuned, and they have this look, and I've met them, and they have this look, and they don't even need to say anything. They're just all vibration.
Right. And
they just have this, I got goosebumps talking right now, that I've seen, and they have this look about them, and this security and this knowing, and they don't even have to speak. And you could just see the fucking light. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Like those Buddhist monks that go out and can sit in negative 55 degrees, icing up, and continue meditating.
And they're just so powerful. And then when they do speak, the very few words, it's just so powerful. Yeah. It's crazy.
Right.
You know, and I want to be like that, man. And this is the process.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Like, I would love for the energy I put out to have more of an effect than the actual words I'm speaking.
Yeah. And it does, man. And it does. And you do, you probably just don't know it.
Sure.
You know, but you get to a point too, you know, where you walk in a room and you just, man, when you just feel a joy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I definitely want to be one of those people, because those people are the ones changing the world.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know, they are.
Agreed. For sure.
Yeah, bro. Man. Yeah, man. This one, this chick, man, that's following us, dude. She watched one of our episodes today. It was so cool, man. I was like, because she's watching some of this stuff on TikTok, you know what I mean? And I was talking to her and whatnot, and I was like, telling her about the show. Well, it's an actual podcast. You know, I sent it to her, and it wasn't an hour later, she already watched one of our episodes.
That's good stuff, man.
And just loved it, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I'm seeing that a lot. Like, you know, I know we've told everyone before, but like, we're seeing people share our stuff, and like, so, you know, it's not going to hit everyone, but, you know, I feel through our experiences that we're helping some people, you know, like we were talking about how we see the motivational videos, and like that's helpful to us. Well, now we're starting to become those motivational videos for people, you know, and that's a good feeling, because, you know, we talk with, and it probably sounds like there's a lot of judgment on people and things like that with some of the things we say, but overall, like, fulfillment for me in life is to be able to help other people, but not by giving them things, not by giving, you know, money, not by, you know, giving things that keep them in the 3D world, but being able to help people feel better in their heart.
Yeah.
Right? Because I needed that so bad, and I still need that, you know, but I know what it's like to feel like you got no one, you got nothing,
Yeah.
and you need something that isn't gonna hit your brain, it's gonna hit your heart.
Yeah.
You know, and that's hard to find a lot of the time, right?
Yeah, dude, I have this friend, man, that she you know, just like you, she's the only other person, you and her, that listened to me about Abraham Hicks and like started following it and started going through her process. And I hear it in her voice when she's like, oh my gosh, just the connection, Carlo, you know, thank you. Not that I need that, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, yes, somebody else gets to feel how I feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just cool because that's what, you know, what is it to have something and not be able to give it away?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like in the program and stuff, they talk about acts of service and being of service, right? But like their idea of being of service is like, you know, bring more people to believe what we believe.
Right.
You're of service when you bring another person to a meeting.
Yeah, and you jump on board with our beliefs.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're good. Now we feel good about ourselves.
Right. To me, being of service is helping other people find for themselves what they want to believe.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, we don't even know what we want to believe as humans.
Yeah, because we're not even saying that on this show. I say it constantly. Figure it out yourself.
Yep.
Go through your own process.
And that's how we are with our kids too.
Yeah, exactly.
I was telling you,
yeah.
with my son, we were having a discussion about some political topics, and my son's 17, and we're having this discussion, and like we were totally disagreeing on a few things, and I told him, but you know what, son, I'm proud of you because you're actually thinking about things that are deeper than, you know, the next fool you're gonna take out on Call of Duty or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad you're at least like educating yourself and learning about things, even if it's things going on in the 3D world. You know, he's advancing his mind on his own. I didn't ask him to learn those things. He's learning these things on his own. And so, you know, I think wanting to learn is the first step toward wanting to improve as a human being, right?
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I tell my son, like, ask questions.
Yeah.
Question everything.
Right.
Question it all.
Yeah.
Question me, question your mother, question the teacher, question it and come up with your own idea. I love the conversations I have with my son. We haven't had one in a while, man, but we've had some deep conversations, man, about life and about people. And, I think those are the best conversations, the best moments with my children, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I told my son the same thing, was like, you know, form your own opinion, but don't lean to one extreme or the other. You know, look at both sides of everything and decide what you believe. Yeah. You know, and we don't do that enough because, like we said, we actually, it got clipped, this one clip of you saying, you know, let's fit in. Yeah. Let's fit in. Let's dress like everybody. Let's gossip like everybody. Yeah. You know, and so we lean to extremes because we want to fit in. Yeah. You know, and I gotta fit somewhere. Yeah. Or I'm nobody. And that's part of this slave mind that we're talking about. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and so yeah, man. Don't lean to. I believe in not leaning to an extreme. Yeah. Don't lean to any extremes. Because that's how you become closed-minded, you know? So, there was the yawn, bro. Yeah, I feel you. So, that's code. Let's wrap it up. It is about time. Yeah. But good stuff, man. Again, guys, follow us on social media. Hit us up on YouTube. Smash subscribe. You know, comment. We want to have discussions with you. Comment. We love having discussion, whether we agree or disagree with each other. So, love you guys for watching. Appreciate you. Carlo, Love you, brother.
Love you, bro.
Thanks for the
Yeah,
discussion.
just get my name right next time, bro. Okay.
I bet people do that all the time.
Oh, dude, my whole life. Sometimes I'm just like, all right, yeah, I'm Carlos. You know what I mean? Whatever. All right, love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.